which came first, the chicken or the egg? Aristotle doesn't necessarily try to answer that question specifically, but his philosophy would surmise that the chicken is the final cause of the chicken egg. He would say that there are 4 kinds of causes that happen with any phenomenon, any type of process to becoming, of a thing becoming into its final cause, which are 2 intrinsic and 2 extrinsic. The first of which is the material cause. This is what the thing is comprised of. So in our case, with a chicken egg, we have atoms that are formulated into a hard shell, the lining of the shell, and then a little baby chicken on the inside that is growing. Next, you have the efficient causes. This is what causes that little baby chicken to grow. So the egg itself, the heat from the mother, anything that is external stimuli once the chicken is born, the food, the soil, the water, the air, all of the physical elements that help that chicken to grow. Next, we have its formal cause, which is how and why the chicken develops into the larger chicken that it is. It has a very defined process that it is going to develop into. This is due to its intrinsic formal structure. So, for instance, I could never develop into a man because my chromosomes are my internal intrinsic structure. That is my formal cause of how I have developed to be the woman that I am today. And then the fourth cause is the final cause, which Aristotle stated is the most important. It is the purpose of the object or thing. So the chicken, why does it exist? Is it to give food? Is it to help the environment? Why does it exist? What is its purpose? And at first glance, that final cause could look like an intrinsic property. However, Aristotle defines it as external, meaning that our purpose, our final cause, is to maintain the form that we are. So the chicken, what is its final cause? It's to provide food, perhaps. It is to help the environment. It is to help the ecosystem, all of those pieces. What is my final cause as a woman? It would be to bear children. That is a substantial external process that I am created for and that my ultimate final form is intended to achieve. Aristotle defined the final cause as the causes of causes because it is what ties together all 4 of the causes and makes any of them worthwhile or purposeful. He also speaks in terms with this in the terms of potency and potentiality, which is the same as actuality and non-actuality. So I can be a woman and I could choose or be unable to ever conceive a child. So my final cause could potentially never come into actuality. So like take water, for instance, it can be frozen. And so if we are waiting for ice, ice would be water actualized. There were external forces that were a piece and a part of that process, parts of those causes to actualize the potential of water to become ice. The thing with potentiality, though, is that it can never be actualized on its own. I can be a woman, but I can never conceive a child without an external force, right? I am lacking. Women will never be able to reproduce asexually. We're mammals. We are not asexual beings. And so we have to have something else, some external force to have that potentiality brought to actualization. And these 2 things are only intelligible in relationship with each other. So a woman's egg from her ovaries is never going to make sense without the sperm from a man's testes. So in this context of me being who I am, my DNA being structurally what it is, I am comprised of form and matter. Any substance that exists is a combination of form and matter. Form being its ultimate end. What is it created for and how was it intended to be? Matter being the structural design and makeup. An Aristotelian philosophy would say that my growth from a baby to an adult had to do not with lower level changes of atomic structure, right? Like my DNA has remained the exact same through my entire life. And that would be the structural compositional makeup of who I am as a being, what my body is. It is impossible to inherently change. So between Democritus and Plato, you have two extremes, right? You have Democritus, who believed in materialism, that all we were is matter. Every component of ourselves is solely matter. Then you have Plato, who focuses on that final form to say we are created from the nous, from the mind, that we have an ultimate form that we were intended for that is perfect. And then you have Aristotle, who is saying that matter and form cannot be separated. They are actually intrinsic to each other. And I think it's really fair and important to point out that Aristotle was a heavy scientist. Like, he was one of the best, most educated scientists of his time. We know him as a philosopher, but he had studied zoology, botany, anatomy, physics, astronomy, meteorology. He wrote on all of these things. He dissected the new specimens of plant and animal life and studied them. Like, he was very, very, very well educated, and his goal was to bring the scientific reason into Plato's philosophy of idealism. And finally, I know that I was referencing potentiality specifically to conceiving, but I do also want to point out that this is applicable to anything, right? Like, an artist is going to get better at art by practicing art. A person is going to be a better driver by driving. There are different things that have potential. The potentiality exists, but the potency, it cannot come to fruition unless there is an external force, unless there's external engagement to help the process along. For those four causes that we talked about at the beginning of the video, for those four causes, they must be present in order for the progressive phenomenon to occur. That was a lot for today. I wasn't sure how I was going to approach that, and that's how it came out. So I hope it made sense. There was a lot. That was a lot today. And tomorrow we're talking about Aristotle's ethical philosophy, teleology, and virtue ethics, which also looks like another little bit of a heavy day, but I'm learning a lot. I hope you are too. And obviously, I don't know. Maybe this will challenge your worldview a little bit. I know that my worldview has been challenged quite a bit, and that is why I wanted to read this, to understand how it is that I understand the world better, because I am reading a lot that I do agree with, and it makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm wondering if it makes sense to you too. So if it does, let me know, and I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Have a great night.